Ayo, what's good, reader fam? Welcome back to my channel. Hope you're having the best day. Hope you're out there living your best life. And I hope you're not stressing over the fact that there's no possible way to read every book in the world. Today, I'm bringing you a video where I talk about popular books that I will never read. I did a video kind of like this a couple years ago where I just talked about some books that I'll never read, but today I'm going to be focusing on popular books. I'm constantly talking about the books that I want to read on my channel, so I feel like it's nice to kind of shake it up every now and then, and that's what we're going to do today. We're going to shake it up. Now, you might be wondering, why you gotta make a video like this? I get that on a spiritual level, but here at Reader Fam headquarters, I like to relate to people. I relate with people about books that I love and about books that I want to read, so why not change it up and relate to people who also don't want to read certain books just like me? Do you feel what I'm getting at? Anyway, I've got 5 books that I want to talk about today, but first a word from our sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by It's Okay If You Don't Agree With Me. It's Okay If You Don't Agree With Me is a free service that allows you to disagree with my opinions. If your favorite book is on this list, you're still allowed to like that book. Why? Because of our free service, it's okay if you disagree with me. If your favorite book is on this list, it is also not a personal attack on you. How is that possible? Through our service, it's okay if you don't agree with me. It's a free subscription and I highly recommend it. Now let's get back to the video. The first book on my list is After. Now this book has received a lot of good buzz and a lot of bad buzz. It's got a lot of buzz backing it up. After is about this good girl who's going into her freshman year at college and she ends up meeting this bad boy who wants to challenge her good girl ways. The more that I'm telling you this description, the more that I'm realizing that this book is basically that Cobra Starship song with Blair from Gossip Girl. I make them good girls go bad. What a bop. The thing is, good girl Tessa has a boyfriend at home, but she just can't resist the pull of the bad boy. I've been recommended this book so many times, and every time I get a comment being like, yo, you gotta read After, I just avoid it at all costs. I'm sorry if that's you and I avoided your comment. I just know that this is not a book for me, and I don't want to let those people down that have been recommending it to me, but I guess this is me letting all you After lovers down big time. I'm sorry, it's just nothing in that description interests me, and I'm not gonna force myself to read it like some booktubers have been doing, which honestly, props to you for doing that, but I cannot do that, no thank you. When you Google this book, one of the first things that it says is experience the internet's most talked about book, which I feel like that's kind of a cover up because I feel like it's more so like experience the internet's most negatively talked about book. I never really let the opinions of others affect mine. I'm not gonna not read a book just because a bunch of people didn't like it. There are a lot of people that say Caesar salads are bad, but they're my favorite. You think just because a group of people say they're bad that it's gonna stop me from eating it? Heck no, tech no. I will always give something a shot and see what I think for myself because I'm really not into bandwagoning hate. It's like all those people who trash talk Sarah J Maas books without actually reading them. You're just sipping your tea because you want to join the tea party, but you've not actually read the books. Not to say Sarah J Maas's books can't be criticized. I'm just saying a lot of people criticize them without actually reading them. Anyway, knowing what I know about this book has kind of turned me off. For those who don't know, this book actually started out as Harry Styles fanfiction. I have nothing wrong with Harry Styles. He's got a slew of bops that I have on many of my playlists, and while I wasn't a ride or die kind of guy when it came to One Direction, I enjoyed some of the hits they served us with. I also do not have anything against fanfiction. I think it's dope. It's a great way to practice your writing. It gives people the opportunity to practice writing with stories that they're already passionate about. But my desire tank to read a book that originally started out as Harry Styles fanfiction is empty, and I can almost guarantee that it's gonna remain that way. The big reason that I honestly have no real pull to read this book is that it's pretty much a given that it's going to be heavy on the romance. If you're new here, hi, hello, I'm not huge on books that have romance at the core. I don't mind romance in books, but I'm just super particular with it. It's gotta keep me from rolling my eyes or keep me from cringing, and most of the time slow burn romance plots are my kryptonite. I'm the pickiest and I hate that I'm that way, but I ain't changing for nobody. I will say that the thing that this book is most criticized for is the fact that it glamorizes an abusive relationship, and it's not one of those things where people are like, this book has abuse in it, and the book is like, there are receipts. I will leave a link to a blog down below in the description that kind of details the abuse that is showcased in this book. I want to be clear here though, it's fine if you enjoy After. There's nothing wrong with reading a book that has problematic content in it. You're allowed to enjoy it. I'm not a book gatekeeper. All books have issues, and as long as we're aware of that fact, that our faves are problematic and not the end all be all queen of the book kingdom, then you're good. It becomes a problem when you so blindly love something that you can't see any of its flaws. And that's all I gotta say about that. the mic has been dropped. Next we have Les Mis. I always avoid saying the actual title because I can't say it correctly. Les Misérables. Les Misérables. Les Miserable. That's how I feel about this title. It's miserable.
Les Misérables.
Les Misérables.
Les Misérables.
Les Misérables. Les Misérables.
Les Misérables.
Les Misérables. You know what? I'm just gonna call it Les Mis. I tried, okay? I actually tried. This story takes place in the 19th century in France, and we follow a prisoner named Jean who has broken his patrol. And because of that, he's being hunted by police officers, and I also believe that this story takes place during the June Rebellion. I'm also pretty sure that there's so much more to this book, because if you've ever seen this book in person, it's a hunger. Like, if you've ever held it in your hands, you know it's a big one. You know it could do some damage if chucked at someone. Not that I think about that every time I hold a big book in my hands. This book is huge. I wonder if I could take somebody out if I chucked it at them. I feel like this was recommended to me a lot when I first started my channel because the movie had just come out or something. And so everyone was pumped on it, everyone wanted to read it, and wanted everyone in their path to read it along with them, which I get it. I've been there. You read a book you love and all you want to do is rel anyone in your path by recommending them the book. Because you've realized that it's your God-given duty to get everyone on the planet to read that book. But unfortunately, I've just never had the desire to read this book. Like, I've never looked at this book and been like, huh, I want to read that someday. Like, no, that's never crossed my mind. Even when people are like, it's so good, I'm like, are you sure? Is it really that good? Now, my turnoff with this book might be because of the length of the book. No, you know what? It is because of the length of this book. That's definitely a big factor. Like we've already established, this book is huge. I do think it's an interesting story concept, but do I want to dedicate however many hours it could possibly take for me to read this book? Nope. I've yet to watch the movie, so maybe I'll give that a shot because I have no desire to read this book. It ain't happening. I just have to really be sold on a book's concept if I'm going to be reading a book that's bigger than a brick. I have so much respect for people who aren't really sold on story concepts and still attack books that are bigger than bricks. Like, you are the MVP. Those people are literally superhuman in my eyes because there is not an ounce in me that could ever relate to that. I'm more of a this isn't gonna work, so thank you next kind of guy. Next, I've got the book It. Ooh, we getting controversial up in here. This story is about this shape-shifting evil force that comes out of the sewers every 27 years to prey on children. I believe in this, we follow this group of kids who decide that they're going to take down this evil force. Again, this is a book that I mostly can't see myself reading because of the fact that I'm just not entirely sold on the concept. And this book is huge. It's so big. There's definitely a trend here in books that I avoid. I've yet to read anything by Stephen King. Trust me, Mr. King is on my list of authors to read. Because name a more iconic author who puts out books left and right and remains relevant in the way that he does. I'll wait. Oh, cricket sounds? Yeah, that's what I thought. Let's move on. So basically what this all comes down to is that I'm just not interested enough in the story concept to commit to this book. Reading a book is like being in a relationship. You've got to put in the effort to make it work. And I don't think that on my end I'd be able to put in the effort to make it work. It's me, not you. And I would just end up being a sinking ship. This would probably take me a month to read, maybe longer because your boy is a slow reader. And to me, I would just rather read books that I'm more interested in. The thing is, I'm sure this book is solid. It's got to have some great qualities because it's got such a cult following behind it. And so many people have recommended me this book too. I'm sure it was kind of around the time that the movie was coming out, the first movie. So a lot of people were telling me to read it. It's easy to get caught up in that book to movie web made out of hype, but I was not letting myself get tangled up in it. Nope, 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 nope. I used my hype repellent and got the heck out of there. If you've read this book and you liked it, let me know in the comments down below what kind of appeals to you the most. I'm genuinely curious because I feel like most of the time I just hear people being like, read it, you need to read it. But like, why do I need to read it? What about it did you like? Let me know in the comments down below. Next up, we have the Shiver series by Maggie Stiefvater. This story follows a girl named Grace who has always kept her eyes on the wolves that live in the forest behind her home. Then we follow Sam, who is a wolf, and during the summertime, he actually turns into a human. I believe Sam and Grace end up connecting and they kind of hit it off, but once winter comes around, Sam must fight transforming, being turned back into a wolf, as he's decided that he wants to remain a human. I love The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater, despite the fact that I've still yet to push myself to carry on with the series.
Because I am the absolute worst.
At this point, I need to smack on some clown makeup and call it a day, because that's me in my true form when it comes to my reading life. I'm the clown who never reads the books he claims he wants to read. Anyway, I bought the first book, Shiver, when I was first getting into the Raven Boys series. God bless Kindle Daily Deals coming through and giving me a discount. I even read the beginning portion, but that beginning portion was pretty telling of the fact that this book was not going to be for me. Yo ho, it's not the book for me. I really enjoy Maggie Stiefvater's writing style, but in this series, it just felt like really dry and different. I can definitely tell that she's grown as a writer with the Raven Boys because the Shiver Shiver series was obviously her first series. Actually, it was her second series, I think. I didn't get very far into Shiver, but what I had read just like didn't appeal to me at all. And I just couldn't get myself invested in the characters, which is a very important thing for me. Ultimately, I decided to DNF it and move on with my life. I know that there are a lot of people who love this series and a lot of people who are just kind of underwhelmed by it. So I'm actually curious if you guys have read this series. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments down below. I always feel really bad when I DNF a book, but I've also been really trying to rework my mindset and just allow myself to not finish books and move on with my life. So this unfortunately fell into the DNF category and has now ended up on my books I'll never read list. And the last one that I'm going to be mentioning today is a popular series, so don't let out a breath you didn't realize you were holding with this one, and that is the Vampire Academy books. This story follows this girl named Rosemary who is training at Vampire Academy, training to become a guardian for her best friend. Now, I want to read a vampire book at some point. Like, I'm really interested in reading The Beautiful by Renee Ahdieh. That book comes out later this fall and I'm really interested in reading it. But back to Vampire Academy, for some reason I've just never felt like I would really enjoy a vampire book. I mean, I've read books where there are vampires present, obviously, but I've never read a book where vampires are like the full-on focus of the story. The Mortal Instruments series does not count in my opinion. I know that a lot of you guys are thinking like, there's a heavy presence of vampires in those books, but in my opinion, these don't count because I mean like the sole focus of the story being about vampires. There for a while, I was contemplating actually picking up this series and reading it because the hype was real, but then I had to snap out of it and realize that they don't really interest me that much. The hype was getting in my view and I had to use my windshield wipers in my mind to clear it. Again, I do not rely on reviews, but I've read quite a few reviews in this book and they pointed out things in this book that I personally do not like. Like, there's apparently a teacher-student relationship in this book, and that is one of my ultimate turnoffs. You can take that trope and chuck it in the garbage, because for me personally, that's where it belongs. Again, if you enjoy that trope, have at it. You can have my survey, because I am absolutely not here for it. So those are 5 popular books that I will not be reading unless I'm forced to against my will. You guys should let me know down below in the comments if any of these books are also on your shall never read books list, or if not, let me know down below in the comments some popular books that you feel like you'll just never get around to. And yes, it's okay if you say a book I love, like Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. It will not hurt my feelings at all, because we're all unique little butterflies and we have different likes and different dislikes. And that's what makes us beautiful. I feel like I should put some fake tears on right now. If you like this video, be sure to go and hit that like button. If you want to see more bookish content from me, be sure to go and hit subscribe or go and hit that bell icon and you'll be notified every time I post new videos. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope your day is bright, that tomorrow is brighter. Keep reading what your heart desires, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye-oh!